Job security is dead and nobody cares. You know what? I completely agree with this 100%. What is it? When it comes to military for me was the only kind of job where I felt like, hey, there's actually some security with half the shit that like we do. However, being out in the real world after I actually got out of active duty, this is something that like they promise you. Most jobs promise you like, oh, if you do this, you'll be able to, you know, have your retirement for later. This is going to set you up for success. However, I haven't been able to see that. I haven't personally been able to see that in quite a while. Now, chat, I have a question before we actually start. Does anyone else have that? Does anyone else actually have some security? Because listen, nobody that I fucking talked to has ever told me that they're like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. There might be like one, maybe like two. I think like cybersecurity, if you do anything with engineering, usually when it comes to like people's houses and stuff like that, you'll always have something. But for the most part, especially if you work like a desk job or anything that involves like a company where like you're dispensable for the most part, which is unfortunate, but that's kind of how that's how our world works for the most part. Most people with job security started their jobs like 10 plus years ago. Exactly. And don't even get me started on like the requirements that you have to do for certain jobs. It can be a mess because like they want you to have experience, but then they also want you to have the degree. And it's like, I can't actually get the experience unless you let me into the job. It can be like a fucking mess. I'm telling you, jobs nowadays are tough. Not saying that you can't get one, clearly, but like they are tough. They are really tough. It's a bit of a mess. Like I said, in this economy, it's a bit messy. It's a bit messy.
What they used to be.
Oh, hold on a minute. Perfect.
Jobs
I feel like I
are
always
not
have
what
like
they
the
used to
right
be.
volume, but
The
no.
average time an employee spends with their company is now at the lowest level ever, and that's by design. We have gone from full-time to part-time to casual to gig work, lowering the expectation of a long-term professional relationship every step of the way.
And it's crazy to think about because like the amount of people that are doing, like I said, DoorDash, Uber Eats, which by the way, thank you. Thank you for all you do. You guys have been helping me out a lot since I've been super busy. It has become more of a people that have been working more for like offices or just in general, like, you know, I guess when I was growing up, it was more like the safe jobs, that is becoming less and less of a thing. And you know what? I started hearing more about that after COVID. I think once people like, how should I say, once people had that experience there, they're like, I don't want to go off to work. They want to work from home. They want to be able to work different jobs that don't involve doing the same old bullshit 24/7. Some people are taking those jobs as a second job. Well, yeah, that is true. Don't even get me started. Like for me, before I actually retired from the military, I did, I worked for my family's company. So I've always been good with numbers. So that's always been my strong suit. But I've also, I had my military pay stuff for like my, usually for part-time. And then not only that, but anything else that I can do for my hustling. Hell, some people could even save my streaming too. But I try to, oh God, my water bottle. Hold on a minute. I try to make it so that when it comes to my streaming stuff, I kind of keep it like, hey, this is my payment over here for like models and whatever else that I possibly need. So you are right though. It's like not only do you need multiple jobs of these, but also they're getting much, much, much more harder to keep. Let's just say that. It's been harder to keep, I like to say.
If this didn't do enough, studies have shown that many workplaces are now intentionally promoting the fear of job losses in an attempt to motivate workers and keep costs down. But this is usually...
Yep, that's what happened to me in my old job. I used to work for a pills and lid company, and anytime that they had the opportunity to get rid of me, they finally did, which again happened during the COVID times. And it's funny because all they did was they shrunk my job to make it so that someone else pretty much had it, in the sense of like one person with like multiple hats. And it's funny because that was my job, to have multiple hats in the one, like for one company, multiple hats. So I felt like I had multiple jobs and I didn't get paid extra for it, which is awful. But at the same time, I thought I was secure with my job. I thought it was something that I can pretty much run with. I think I was there for like 3 or 4 years, and I was going to keep going for a while until everything started falling apart, and it was actually pretty shitty. But you know what? It's funny because I think I dodged a bullet. I dodged a bullet, now live at my new place here, and now I do this and then just work for my family's company. So it's much, much, much more accessible. I mean, now I can work from home and do it exactly the way that I want to, which is great, which is fucking great.
A really dumb idea. The death of job security is bad for workers and bad for companies.
Because then people are like, why stay here for a long time? It makes it so that jobs are even more temporary. Like, if anyone's ever worked for like a seasonal job at like maybe like Target, or like especially during like, you know, like the holiday times, you damn well know it's only for a little bit. So that's how like these big jobs are starting to act, because for most companies, people are what is it? They are easy to be thrown out. You can get somebody brand new from the streets and they're probably going to be there for 6 months to a year, and then they're just going to drop it and keep doing that over and over again. And if I remember correctly, it's because it's cheaper. And then they don't really have to pay as much for these people. Exactly. Very disposable. It's supposed to save money for most companies. However, it's also really bad, because then it's like, hey, why even work for these companies? So it's almost as if like, because of this, people just want to work for the jobs where they can just come in and out on their own times. Plus it fucking sucks getting fired consistently. Like, I mean, I know when I got mine, I thought it was me. I thought it was a me thing. Kind of find out it was more them. But that's how businesses work. That's why I don't like big corporate companies. I feel like I messed with them for most of my life, and I'm good.
But nobody
family business is like much better.
So we have immediately seen, Andrew, layoffs. We have seen price increases, so that's inflation.
Teachers and staff at schools from coast to coast could soon be out of the job.
15 million new jobs in just 3 years.
I never, ever, ever believe it whenever, like, I almost want to say every president has said, like, oh, we have this many jobs here, everyone's working. I'm like, really? I don't know. I feel like I've heard that before, and yet people are still struggling. So I'm like, not too sure about that one. Not 100% sure about that one. Yeah, I was about to say, I think what they do, and again, I've worked for like the government for about 12 years. And let me tell you something. I think personally that they're just going to tell you whatever they need to be able to be like, hey, like, y'all are happy now. Good. Boom. Done. Even though nothing has ever changed. It's, what's the word for it? It's more or less to comfort people that are not going to ask questions, more or less. I think there's a saying for that. Maybe more or less it's pretty much for people that aren't going to ask questions, but like, you're like, hey, I'm in charge and I'm going to say, hey, this is good, it's fine, don't worry about it. And people are like, all right, awesome. Then, you know, pretty much nothing changes, and then you keep going back and forth. It's almost like it is a very abusive and shitty cycle that keeps going on over and over and over again. But it's funny though, is that nobody learns. Like, they say this, if you're going to make mistakes, make sure you learn from it. If you're going to make mistakes, please learn from it. And you know what? People never do. Like, I am a firm believer of fucking up, making mistakes, learning, but you got to also learn that when you do fuck up or you fail, make sure that that doesn't happen again. But, you know, I guess easier said than done.
Musk said the company would look to reduce headcount by around 10%.
Layoffs are already piling up this year, and we're just a few weeks into 2024.
I know. It always feels like every year just gets a little bit worse.
It was unusual for workers to spend their entire professional careers working with just one company. Company loyalty was highly valued by both employers and...
I'm trying to think. Because other than the military, I've had a couple of other jobs on the outside, especially when I retired from active duty. And I'm trying to think. I got fired from one. Well, actually, no. I got fired from two of them, and then the other one that I walked out. And you know, one of them out of all that was the only one that I felt like, which is the Pails and Lid Light company, that I was like, okay, I can be here for like what, 10, 20 years, however long that like little period is for like your retirement. And I thought, oh, I'll be good to go. This will be great. And, you know, it didn't happen. So it's crazy to me because I was a fucking hard ass worker. I did my best. So it almost makes me think to myself, like, this whole like job security thing is like a myth nowadays. Now, when that started happening, I couldn't tell you. Also, Jess, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
The threat of getting laid off or fired was incredibly low.
Yeah.
If you ever watch old films and see someone getting fired as a major plot point, just remember it actually was a big deal back then.
Third prize is you're fired.
But according to
And
data
it would
from the
only happen to like the shittiest of workers. It only happened to like the shittiest of fucking workers. Now you could have somebody that is like an absolute gigachad at their job. If it's taking too much money from the company, they're like, well, I don't know what to tell you. And the funniest part is that that specific job, whatever that person was doing, whether they were the best at it or the worst, like they would go and give it to the person literally that's probably one step below. Ones that usually don't make as much money. And then now they have multiple hats on. And the worst part is this, like even if that person was a god at what they did, like an absolute gigachad, it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was just a little bit too much than what they wanted. And that's so shitty. That's so shitty. And in the end, it kind of fucks with them. But like at the time, how businesses, a lot of businesses look at it is like this. If it is at the moment causing an issue, they will get rid of it. And not even thinking about what the consequences of that is going to, I guess, happen afterwards because of it. It's really shitty. And it's like, how do you not see it? How do you not see it? I think personally, I think I can run a business very, very, very well. I do help out a lot with my family business, but let me tell you, if I could just start over from fresh, I can definitely do it. You just need to give me the money to start up, but hey, you know. And also, Mass, thank you so much for the gifted sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics, those days are long gone.
Yeah.
The average tenure of young employees these days is less than a third of the baby boomers exiting the workforce. I don't want to sound too old here, but back in my day, people actually cared about losing their job.
And that's what I'm saying, because I was the same way. My family put it in my head, like every fucking day, be like, you need to work hard so you can find a job that's going to pay you consistently and also work for a company like forever, at least until you're done. Because, and when I started okay, I think when I lost my very first job, when I was out of active duty, I was so sad. I was like, is it me? Is this something that like I did? Like, I thought I worked my ass off. I worked overtime all the time. Come to find out, this was just like a normal thing. This was just a normal thing. And it made me really sad because like it took me a while to realize that. So I don't know. It just, it's sad, honestly. It's sad. It's sad to see. So it's like, I wonder what happened, what changed. And I really just think it's just because of it's the economy. It's the economy and how businesses think nowadays. It's shitty. It's shitty.
Today, getting fired or laid off from your company just makes good content to post on TikTok. This is a bad trend for
I know, because everyone bitches right afterwards. This company sucks, which they probably do.
Getting fired is always going to be a motivator in the workplace. There really is no way around that. If you don't do your job...
And you know what? They say it's a fear. But you know what? I'm sure you guys have seen it many, many, many times now, especially with the younger generation. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Like, they're like, whatever. And you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Now, of course, if you're just going to live at mom's house and not do anything, I mean, I wouldn't say do that. You know, you got to pay bills and rent and stuff like that. But don't be dealing with their shit. Like, especially if it's not on you. Work your ass off. Do your stuff. Like, don't be a bum. More or less. Don't be a bum. Just, you know, kind of just make your wages and do the best that you possibly can. But like, if for some reason you have some kind of prick that's like, hey, by the way, we're going to let you go and shit like that, just be like, don't cry about it. What's the saying? Don't cry over spoiled milk. Don't cry over fucking spoiled milk. Because honestly, you can just move on and do something better. You can do something better. And all they're going to do is give your job off to the person that's getting paid less anyway. And also, they're going to take you out and get, what is it? They just don't have to pay for that one man. But again, it'll come back around. It'll come back around. It 100% will come back around. And then they're just going to be dealing with the same bullshit again. They'll hire somebody. They'll do that. Boom. Get rid of them. Rinse and repeat. It's almost as if like companies enjoy having issues. I don't know. Almost want to feel that way. I'm not going to lie.
Job or cause too much trouble for the company.
But I like being a bum. That's too damn bad.
Along with the pay and benefits that come with it. But as the great Peter Gibbons would say, that will only make someone work just hard enough to not get fired. The death of job security means...
And you know what? That is a great point. Perfect example. Again, military. Military, you gotta do some dumb shit to actually fucking get kicked out. But with that being said, that's why every fucking military member only does the bare minimum. And I've seen it also on like the outside. But all that does is make it so that you don't get like the you don't get any hard workers. You get average workers because they know nothing's going to happen. They know nothing's going to happen, but it's just enough. So when you really want to go all out and above for your companies, for your business, it's probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen unless you have, I guess, more or less like incentives. And also a huge thing that I think a lot of companies forget about is that they really, really, really like to say like, hey, everyone's doing great. That's not the case. If fucking Robert's doing fantastic, but Philip fucking sucks, don't say everyone. Robert is the one that's kicking ass. Philip sucks cock. So fuck that dude. This guy's doing great. And it's like, people forget that it's like, don't group people. Don't group people. You got to show love to the people that are actually kicking ass out there. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to really do all that because then it makes everyone feel special. But that's not the case, because when everyone's special, nobody's special. So it's just like, I don't know, it counteracts. It's pretty bad.
Means that people just expect to lose their job at some point in their career these days.
Which is sad.
But there are 3 big reasons why it was allowed to get this bad, and 3 reasons why nobody really cares anymore. The first reason is that companies give up on training their own staff.
Sorry, 100% true. I'm going to use military a lot because all of this does apply to them. In the engineering field, when I first came in, like we were trying to deal with more or less like base maintenance. So I remember my old like supervisor, he was so bad that my first year that I came in, because I was supposed to do like a test for like upgrading, and you're supposed to like know more about your job, and I'm like, I have never seen this shit in my fucking entire life. And I thought about it and I was like, ain't nobody teach me jack shit. So I failed. I failed my very first upgrade training, and it was terrible. But I felt like dog shit. But then I thought to myself, like, was that me, or was that like, or was there no guidance? And that was something that I dealt with for years and years and years. So that's why when I actually became a supervisor for someone, I wanted to make sure that my troop was like ready. My troop was like, he knew exactly what he wanted to do, because it was like this real tall guy. He was such a good boy. He was such a good boy. I'm not sure if I could say that about my old troop, but whatever. It's the leadership. Like, having great leadership really does help out, not only with your company, but just in life. Having someone that can push you and give you the right direction changes lives. It changes lives. Like, I cannot be. Oh, actually, let me rewind this. Have you ever heard the terms of you're only as good of a person as your surroundings? All that really means is that, like, if you are around tons of people that are just either negative Nancy's or just people that just fucking suck, I'm going to be real with you, that fucking suck. How are you supposed to get motivated when you're having a bad day? How are you supposed to be inspired? Because you can't when you have negative Nancy's, little shitheads that really don't want to do anything. Being able to be around people that want to do more, that's what you want. Because they will help you and pick you up whenever you are down. So you can be a leader, but they can also be a leader for you. So whether that's work or just even like your friend group, like, trust me, I have a couple of friends that are they're somewhere in the middle. But then again, I don't hang out with them as much. A lot of times now I hang out with a lot of people that are trying to push for goals. So, and I think that's important.
There's an old joke about company staffing that goes something like this. The CEO and head of HR are arguing about the cost to train staff. The CEO asks, what would happen if we spent all this money and they quit? To which the head of HR responds, what happens if we don't spend the money and they stay? But as more...
Exactly. And that's... People think to themselves like, hey, since the thought process now is like, hey, everyone is like dispensable, they can pretty much just throw someone away. Now people don't want to do these extra steps. So now everyone's a shithead because they don't have training, they don't have leadership, but because it's going to cost them money to do it. But I think to myself like, hey, why even have a business that's functioning if you're not going to be able to lead your people to what they want, to what you want? It's like, you want things to be perfect, and yet you don't even give people the right fucking tools to do it. It's like trying to build a bridge, but give them nothing. Be like, hey, by the way, do this with your hands, no fucking tools, nothing. It's like, okay, that's going to go great. I promise you that's going to go great. as a negative Nancy who does, I hang out and try to get out of that headspace. You have to, especially nowadays, because what happens if you never get out of that headspace is that you're going to be a victim. You're going to be just like everybody else. And let me tell you, a victimhood, what do you want to call it? Victimhoodness. I doubt that's the word, but being a victim, being just like everyone else that's like, oh, well, the world sucks. So, why even try? That is so shitty. Because it's like, you want to be able to do a little bit more in life. You don't want to be the problem. You want to be the fucking solution. But people, they don't want to do it. It's maybe too hard. It's either too hard or in general, no one else is doing it around them. So with that being said, it can be really hard to do so. But it is doable. Most definitely. You just have to you got to push for it.
Where people move jobs more often, the CEO's argument is actually starting to make sense. Research conducted by Peter Capelli, the director of the Wharton School's Center for Human Resources, found that the time and money spent on staff training within companies has fallen drastically. In 1979, the average worker received 2.5 weeks on the job training every single year.
You want to know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of how schools will take away, or what is it? I'm trying to think. It's the houses, right? Who's the one that controls schools' budgets? I'm trying to remember. Sorry, I'm a little slow today. I'm a little sick for anyone that is watching. So yeah, I'm going to be forgetting terms. But who is it? It's the house, isn't it? Yep, the board of directors. Yes, that one. So you hear it all the time where people keep getting their budgets smaller and smaller and smaller. And the reason why I bring this up is because they don't think that they need to be spending this extra money for schools. And even though I did put my kids inside of private schools, and I was part of it, and many of you others, just like y'all, have probably been in public school for most of your life whenever you were growing up. So with that being said, it was pretty shitty, isn't it? A lot of it was actually pretty fucking shitty. And a lot of the times, just because there's no leaders, there's no one, it's like it's just getting by. People are just getting by. And a lot of times they can't afford it. A lot of times you can't afford to be able to have teaching and also the things that they need to be able to teach. Hell, if I remember correctly, a lot of teachers had to go out of their own pocket just to be able to go ahead and teach, which is shitty. I know, listen, public schools are a nightmare nowadays. They are a nightmare. So that was my example with that. You start taking more and more money away from their budgets, whether it's business or schools, it's just going to start burning down. And honestly, I feel like that's why a lot of businesses pretty much are starting to go out of business because they're not doing the right shit to be able to keep their company afloat, which is awful. It's fucking awful. But to me, it's simple. Makes sense to me. You want to invest and make it so your company can keep growing. You got to do the little things to be able to make sure that you have the right team, because those are the people that are pushing the company forward more and more and more. But if you don't have that, then what's the point? You have no, you have no foundation. You have no foundation, and then it pretty much crumbles. It will pretty much show itself after a while.
By 2004, it was just 11 hours, and most of that was safety training, not developing new skills.
Exactly.
A more recent follow-up survey conducted by the same team in 2011 found that only 1/5 of workers received any on-the-job training at all within the last year.
Have you ever heard the term fake it until you make it? Fake it until you make it. There it is. Sorry, my English is awful today. That is something that I did with the Pails and Lid company. I'm going to use that one because a lot of the times I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And like I said, nobody really taught me anything. But I learned. I watched videos. I figured out what the fuck I was supposed to do, how companies work, how this specific company worked. And then eventually I kept my job for a while because I needed the job. And you know what's funny is that my ex did the same thing, and so did some of my friends. And I think to myself, this is actually a pretty common thing because we need the job, we need the monies, and just in general, no one's teaching anyone. Not only because I bet you that they don't have the budget, they don't have people that can actually or want to teach you, but have you ever heard of people not wanting to teach you because they don't want to lose their own jobs? That is such a common fucking thing. Everywhere. I hate that mentality so much. It's like gatekeeping. It's like gatekeeping. You can't have any of the new people be able to learn anything because the old bucks don't want to do anything. They're like, nope, And you know, they're chilling. They're doing the bare minimum, and they don't want some young buck be able to teach them or to be able to like outshine them. So they shit on them until they just quit. So, and you know what's funny, because military is the same way, especially when it comes to if you've ever worked in a shop, you have the civilians and then you have military. It really depends on what base or what shop that you are in. But usually it's like a half and half. The amount of times that like military and also civilians butt heads is crazy, because they don't want people to tell them what to do. They're just coasting. They usually work with a union. They're just hanging out there, which is terrible. It's pretty much like we are starting to develop a bare minimum like society. Well, I shouldn't just say barely, like we're in it. We are in it. And it sucks because this is what's going to, this is what molds our future. Businesses, life teaches the kids like, hey, just do whatever. Just do the bare minimum. And you know what's funny is because of that, like, that's why I think the bar is so low. The bar is so low with so many things, like, you know, your work, streaming, like anything, because all you have to do is just try just a little bit more than like the next person, and boom, you're golden, which is sad to say. It's sad to say. We want to innovate and we can't even do it because the bar's right here. The bar's right here. So when someone decides to do this, they look like a motherfucking god. They look like a fucking superhero. And it's sad because they're kind of just doing just a little bit more. I don't know. Stuff like that pisses me off. Especially as we go further and further in the future, you would think that we would all be here. But we just keep getting lower and lower and lower. So, I don't know. It's sad.
Companies don't want to train people because they are leaving their jobs more frequently than they used to. So they are only willing to hire employees
But I wonder why.
that are already able to do the job. Standardized systems have made this a lot easier for them to do. If you are a professional office worker, it's almost a prerequisite to have a basic proficiency in Microsoft Office, especially Excel. And
I fucking hate Excel so much. So fucking much. Again, I've had to work for people's like financials for a long time, and that's all I work in. For my own company, that's what I do. It is atrocious. Sometimes it works really well. Other times it's fucking shitty. It is a mess. You love Google Sheets? Oh my God, I fucking hate it. Why do you hate it? It's a headache. It's a headache. And not to mention, I've been dealing with it for such a long time. So I guess it's nice because then like when I go into a new job, I'm like, hey, well, I know what I'm doing with this. But when I first tried to learn all that, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? It actually has a lot of functions to it, so it's actually pretty solid. But like, I don't know, I've just been dealing with it for a while, and it was confusing as shit when I first started. It's like Excel really excels at how to use it. Okay. It excels at being frustrating. That's what it is. It is excelling at pissing me off for the most part. And you know, like, as much as I know it now, I think to myself, like, God, I'd like to never see it ever again. But alas, that is my job.
Profession
that is my job.
Its own industry standard productivity programs. If you are a creative, you use Adobe Suite. If you are in sales, you use HubSpot or a comparable CRM. And if you're in marketing, you need to know your way around a box of crayons. Oh, and the advertising analytics backend of Google, Meta, and LinkedIn. Since these skills have become the standard for all employees.
Off topic, like, they talked about Meta, you know, the whole fucking Mark Zuckerberg thing. How's that going? I feel like I've been hearing that for a minute. I know nothing about it. I've heard just the fact that it's going down with the ship, baby. So it's starting to sink from what I heard. But then again, what do I know? The only thing that like really like pissed me off a lot was when he was trying to do like the what did I tell you? He was trying to do the VR shit, and I'm just like, you know, we have VR chat already, which is like 10 times better than whatever the fuck you're making. Just saying. He should go inside a VR chat. He may be like, whoa, what the fuck? Is this like a new thing? It's like, no, bitch, this has been here for years. This has been here for fucking years. It's like we were once said that he is not human. Oh, I believe it. He looks like a lizard. He looks like a lizard and acts like it too. Have you ever tried to like, have you ever seen like interviews with him where he's trying to talk to somebody? Like, I'm telling you, like, I get it with the whole social anxiety thing, and maybe he's like that. Like, he is a smart dude. He's a super smart dude. And a lot of like my super nerdy friends have a hard time chatting. You know, to be honest with you, I feel like I'm having a hard time chatting myself. But besides the point, it's like very socially awkward. Oh, like, does anyone remember the No Man's Sky guy? What is his fucking name? before it all fucked up for a while. What was his name? He was very socially awkward. Yep, Sean Murray. Yeah, he was very awkward, but it was because he wasn't supposed to be like running the show. He was the guy behind the scenes. So when he actually was in front of the camera, a lot of the times he had a hard time speaking, and just in general, he had like kind of like an awkward presence. He did have a nice smile though, I'm just saying. Then again, their game is also doing much better now, so good for them.
Employees, companies can hire people that are already ready to work on day one, where in the past, they would need a lengthy training program on the unique in-house systems of that particular company.
And that's what we were talking about with the whole like, hey, they want someone with full experience. But then you think to yourself, well, I had to get my degree so that I can even be in this job. But now this job wants me to have like a whole year's worth of like experience. So it's like, how am I supposed to get the experience if you won't give me the job? So that's where the dilemma happens. So when people are like, oh, I should be ready because I have my like degree and everything else, it's like, well, funny story, but you're not going to get this job. So I don't get it. That's why I always say this, like, if you don't know what you want to do, two options: military, or also go off to trade school. Now, trade school is way cheaper. Way cheaper than fucking college, and you will get a job instantly. In military, you can just pretty much go ahead and travel. You can do different kind of jobs, like take advantage of that. Even if you only do it for like 4 years. Easy enough. You will get a lot more experience from it, trust me. And you get to see the world a little bit. I am convinced that people need to go and see more of the world because people are so sheltered nowadays. They're so sheltered and they have no idea how it is out there. If they just got a taste of how the real world works, their mindset might actually change. But, you know, who am I?
But standardized programs have also meant that people can find a new job that they are qualified for with less barriers, which means they switch jobs more often, which means companies invest less into training unloyal staff, which creates even more need for industry standard systems. The ultimate...
And he said it right there. That was actually really good. Loyal. It's like you can have way more loyal, like, workers if they know that you got their back. If they know that you got their back, they will work harder. They will do more. Listen, you can get pretty much anything out into somebody if they know that their business at least cares about them a little bit. Now, business is business, and let's be real. Business is going to make as much, like, they're going to do whatever they can to make as much money as they possibly can. However, having a business where it's like, hey, I'm going to make sure that you are in good hands, then you know that you're in a pretty decent spot then. But that's something that you just don't see. You just do not see. Now, granted, I will say one thing too. Loyalty with the business, like, make sure that you're taking, like, you know, your days off and doing the things for your own self-care. Even if the business is like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Well, if those are your days, like your PTO days and stuff like that, use them, take them. If a company says that they don't want you to, then fuck them. They don't care about you. They really don't care about you.
Incarnation of this trend.
I say that because that's what military used to do.
The professional relationship.
Military would tell you the same fucking bullshit.
The app is running, and writers often work between multiple apps at the same time to maximize earning and minimize downtime. If you want to get ahead in a professional career these days, I'm sorry to tell you.
Happens all the time, baby.
But you are going to have to invest some of your own time and money into training yourself.
And that's the thing nowadays, is that, like, you can go to school for it. You can have endless hours to be able to study something. And you know what? At the end of the day, you're still might lose that job. You still might lose it to somebody that doesn't know half of what you know, which is really shitty. It's really shitty. You put all that time and effort, and then boom, what do you have to show? What do you have to show? Other than somebody right in front of your face saying, like, hey, by the way, you're fired. So it's very, very shitty feeling, especially with all the time and effort that you do. That's why actually nowadays I actually push for more self-employment. And to be fair, that's what a lot of people nowadays are starting to do. A lot more self-employment stuff. Now, granted, you got to figure out what the fuck to do and stuff like that. So there is that. However, this is definitely something where, like, people are starting to turn to more. Happened a lot because of COVID. People want to be able to work from home and do their own thing, but also just in general, like, you are your boss. Hell, if let's just say that I quit my job, like my IRL job, and I did this for streaming. Do I really consider this as like a job? No, but what I will say is this. I know that if I want something out of this, I just got to put more work in there, more hours, and work smarter, not harder. Find ways to be able to make this profitable, successful. And that's what you got to do nowadays to make it so that this shit works. And like I said, I still, to this day, work many, many jobs. And I have a lot of side hustles, let me tell you. And that's what you have to do nowadays. But at least I know that I'm secure. So, but that's something that it took me a while to learn. And hell, I'm just going to use the streaming thing as like an example. I'm 31. I've been doing this for 3 years. I didn't know jack shit about like Twitch or streaming or fucking anything. Hell, I lived underneath a rock for a while. For like 28 years of my life. You know, I was a normie. I had a wife and kids and everything else. So I wanted to do something different, something creative. And it took me a while, but hey, if my dumbass can do it, anybody can do it. So just an example.
Even
Hey,
if
Spooky,
it's
how are
just
you
to
doing?
tick a meaningless qualification box. Companies aren't going to train you anymore, which means if you quit or get laid off, it's not as big of a deal for either party. But the decline of on-job training
like,
is just the first
if
reason.
somebody does,
So it's time to
like,
learn how
if
money
somebody
works,
does get
find out
fired, if someone does get fired, move on to the next thing. Because if they're not going to put their time and effort on with you, then just leave. As much as like that was really hard for me to, how should I say, digest whenever it happened to me first time. Because I'm trying to think. I think my first time I got laid off was maybe like 22, 23. I can't remember specifically. But that was a hard pill to swallow. So shit like that's been happening for fucking forever. But yeah, so just keep moving forward and keep learning. Keep trying to develop brand new skills. Because at the end of the day, that's all you got is your brain. Your brain, your skills, and your determination to keep fucking going.
Why job security is dying, why nobody cares, and what happens when nobody has a job for long enough to be good at it. This week's lesson is sponsored by Manscaped.
That's why when
just in time for Father's
by the way,
Day,
anyone ever
Manscaped
use this?
introduces the must-have gifts
I see this commercial everywhere. Does this work for you guys? Does this work for you? Do they have a female version of this? Because I need a new razor. Jay says no. Is this a Manscaped ad? Yes it is. Doesn't exist here. What do you mean? It's Manscaped. I always used to see them where it's like a shaving kit and there's like pretty much everything you need to be a fucking balding man. Just gotta shave off your head and everything. Probably works fine with like women too. No, listen, we need different blades. Have you ever seen like a guy's razor and a girl's razor? It's different. Bitch, it's different. Oh my goodness. He said, from what I heard, women like using men's razors because they are just better razors. It depends. Like, here's the thing. Like, I like to shave my legs. I like them to be nice and clean. So I tried using like a guy's laser once. Pretty much my little brother. So I was like, okay, I bet you this will be a lot better. And I was cutting my freaking leg up so bad that I was like, no, I need my personal leg razor. You know, nice and soft. Nice and soft. And I'm not getting like razor cuts. Like, I don't know. That's just me personally. I don't know if anyone else has that issue. I'm just saying, Spooky, I see you. Maybe you don't have that problem. But I know for me, it wasn't great. I'm sure for other stuff, it should be fine. But I like mine. That just means that your brother used the shit out of it. It looked clean to me.
First up, the Handyman. The face shaver designed for dads who can handle everything, but
I like how they say for dads, for the balding men out there. I see you, baby.
Hair leveler blade, the Handyman ensures a close, smooth shave, tackling up to 3 days of growth effortlessly.
I love that face. This guy said, damn, I'll be looking good. I'm about to go out to the club tonight. About to find a honey. This man has confidence, baby.
What makes the Handyman exceptional is its skin-safe technology, significantly reducing the risk of nicks and cuts.
And that man had that neck beard.
That man had that neck beard.
I liked it. He said, I have heard it more often with women prefer male razors, but not super often. I just worry for my legs. I want to get the laser hair removal stuff. Just get rid of everything. So I don't got to deal with that shit. No more. You know how much time that shit takes? That shit takes a minute. And let me tell you, mama's busy. Mama's fucking busy. So I'm like, Listen, let's make that shit go away ASAP.
Rotary dual blade system for efficient
He said
grooming.
Manscaped will
The
protect
Weed Whacker
your
2.0
legs. I don't
is
know. Listen,
cordless,
send me a
waterproof,
razor.
and it
Send me a
comes with
razor. Let me
high-performance
see that
battery
shit.
that lasts up to 45
Go
minutes,
all natural.
ensuring it's always
Sometimes
ready
you
when
gotta.
your bag needs
Sometimes
it.
you gotta.
They'll
Sometimes
sell for
I am
ordinary
too
gifts
busy
like
for
coffee
self-care.
mugs this Father's Day.
But
Opt for
I've been trying to
something
do
from
better.
Manscaped, like the Handyman
I've been
or
trying
the
to do
Weed Whacker
better.
2.0, and
Get my
help
nails
Dad
done, get
elevate
my
his
shit
grooming
done.
game
You know, you
from
gotta do that
caveman to
self
gentleman.
fucking care.
Head over
You
to
have to.
manscaped.com and use promo code HMW20 and get 20% off plus free international shipping. Make this Father's Day one to remember with Manscaped.
Oh yeah, I forgot. When's Father's Day? I have to get something from my papa. Shit. Wait, hold up. When is Father's Day? It was a while ago. No, it's next Sunday. Bitch, it was not for next Sunday. Excuse me, a while back. No. It's the coming up one. Okay, good to know. Then again, it's very hard for me to get anything from my papa because he has fucking everything. Like I said, he has a company. He's kind of just like, if he wants something, he's just like me. If he wants something, he'll just get it right there and then because he's been saving. So he's just like, I feel like with him, you got to give him something like handcrafted. Something that he can be like, yep, this is like, has some sentimental value to it. And even then, he'll probably just throw it off in the corner eventually.
The death of job security is bad news for companies, even if they were the ones that caused it. The simple fact is that when you get a new job, you aren't going to be very good at what you do until you learn your new role.
Exactly.
Standardized system.
That's like the same thing, because we were talking about schools earlier. That's like the same thing of like you're taking a class, you're taking a course to learn something, maybe like English, or you're learning a new language, math. It's just like, that would be the equivalent of like you going into that class first time, be like, all right, you're taking a test. This is your final exam. Go. And you're like, wait a minute. I just walked into the room. It's like, well, that's too damn bad. I hope you're ready. I hope you studied. It's like, I hope you fucking studied. It's dumb. It really is dumb.
Systems have made it easier to transfer basic competencies between companies, but even little things like who you talk to about authorizing your expense reports, the names and faces of clients, or how the office printer works, they all take time for new people to learn.
Whoever fucking made a printer, go to hell. Whoever made a fucking printer, go to hell. Them bitches never work. I think Satan made those bitches. I'm telling you. He had to have. They're awful.
According to a study
Also, never
conducted
work
by
in an
Gallup,
office.
a business analytics company,
They're so
it takes
boring.
the average employee 12 months before they reach their full performance potential in their new role.
Mm-hmm.
Other studies have suggested that new employees are not fully autonomous in their responsibilities for the first 18 months of their employment.
Which is ridiculous, because I think to myself that could be dropped down significantly if they had the proper training. If they had the proper training, and we're talking about someone that's actually looking into what you are doing. Yeah, I'll say 18 fucking months. And you think to yourself, like, if you're working and you're shitty, let's just say, like I said, you don't know what you're doing. You're shitty. You're shitty at what you're doing. Not your fault because you didn't get any training. I think to myself, the company's got to be wasting money. They got to be wasting money. So, like, I feel like in the end, people look at short profits, like something that they can get like immediately. So they're not thinking about the long term. But pretty much with this like whole video here, there is no long term. There is no long term. It's pretty much just like, hey, what can they get right now? Boom, done. Moving on. It's sad. It really is.
If new entrants into the job market are only spending 3 years in their
It's
jobs
like,
on average,
it's like we have lost as a community, as pretty much humans. Like, we don't see people as people. We see them as pawns. We move one to the next one. If not, just throw them away. Get another one. It's dispensable. And it sucks because we're talking about people here with lives, families, but business don't care. Now, not saying that businesses didn't do this back in the day, but just like with the video Elise was saying, getting fired back in the day was kind of a big deal. So now it's kind of just like, that was Robert. Bye, Robert. And now we have Robert 2 over here. So it's like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Also, Phil, thank you so much for the 2 months. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
They are going to be spending a third of their career just
He said, reason why raises are hard to get and layoffs are huge. Absolutely. Right? You hear layoffs all the time from all kinds of companies. Don't even get me started when it comes to like Blizzard or just like gaming companies too. Just gone. Employees that have been there for years and years and years, kicking ass, taking names, just gone. And we're talking like hundreds. I don't know. It's ridiculous. That's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, that they're saving. But at the same time though, what is going to be the outcome of that? With every cause, there's an effect. So what would that be? What does that look like? Usually 9 out of 10 times, not good. Not good.
So that begs the question, is this in spite of lower job security or because of it? The second reason that job security has been dying is that it's a great motivation tool. If the fear of losing your job is only enough to motivate you to do the bare minimum to avoid that tap on the shoulder, then you should know that companies have responded by moving those goalposts. A study conducted by economists at Manchester and Cardiff University looked at the motivating factor of what they called manufactured job uncertainty. In this report, researchers tried to work out why fears of job security was going up, even when the rates of people being fired from full-time positions was stable. They did this by comparing companies in America and the UK, who are very happy to lay people off to appease shareholders, to companies in Japan, which has a strong culture of never firing people.
See, I feel like, and I hope that they never lose this. So they have the old mentality of what we used to have. So we've lost it now, unfortunately. So I hope that, you know, in like Japan and other places inside the world, they don't have that issue. Because of course, you know, we're not the only people out there inside of the world. So even though we like to think so sometimes, you know, it's not always like that everywhere else. So it's like, that's cool that there's still other places that still actually keep this mentality. That's why, but then again, that's why when it comes to Japan and other places that like, if they do get laid off or there is big issues, that's why I think the suicide rate is actually so high. If I remember correctly, there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure to be like the best at fucking school or the best at like your job and everything else that when things start crumbling, people just, it's it, done. I know it's super toxic, super fucking toxic. So yes, they do have this process, but at the same time though, at the same time, it can be very tight. Your life goes from 1, 2, 3. If anything, I kind of feel that, but definitely not this bad. Yeah, it's ultra toxic.
But Japanese businesses actually take firing people so seriously that they have an alternative practice called oidashibeya, but this loosely translates to workers' purgatory. According to Japan
I've never heard
Intercultural
this before.
Consulting, a firm that advises businesses operating in the Japanese market, workers' purgatory happens when an employee chronically underperforms in their role. Instead of getting fired, they are typically placed in a room, often windowless, where they have nothing to do.
So it's like a crazy house. Wait a minute. The fuck is that? Wait, hold up. I have never fucking heard this before. This is like jail. It's like fucking jail. Wait, no. There ain't no fucking way. Can anyone like vouch for this? Wait, hold up. There ain't no way. Sounds fucking awesome. Well, just what, sitting inside of a room being useless? One thing with me. Now, some people can just like, I bet you some people love the fact that they don't have to do jack shit. They just sit there and get fucking paid. But for me, I need to have some kind of like, something to do, something to make you feel like I'm actually contributing. Can confirm, I've heard of it. It forces them to quit. Oh, so it pretty much just pushes down that line, which I have a question. Again, I'm not like 100% with everything here, so I don't mind asking. When it comes to stuff like this, do they have, I'm not sure if they have it here in Japan, because I know we have it whenever like a company fires you and you can get unemployment. Do they have that? I want to say no, but I could be wrong. Because I know America loves doing that shit. That's where a lot of our money goes. I'm just saying. They should have it. Oh, do they? I know America's really big on shit like that, but I don't know anywhere else. Yeah, because unemployment is always like a big thing that a lot of people kind of just rely on. So, you know what's crazy though, is because like companies save money here, but the government usually loses a lot. Because once somebody gets fired, they can just be on unemployment for a while. Yeah, exactly. People be taking advantage of that. Listen, that's for like a whole nother video. Like people taking advantage of the unemployment system. That's a whole thing. Listen, I've had, when I used to live in the ghetto, let me tell you, the amount of families where that's what they lived off of forever. Like, I mean, not like a month, not like a year, many years. It's crazy. It'll blow your fucking mind. Let me see if I can find a video for that, maybe for next week.
In many cases, their business cards are taken away. and they are forced to do menial, mind-numbing tasks or given nothing to do at all. So yeah,
well, some people might like that. They play on their phone and they're kind of just like, whatever.
Fire them, making them a pretty good contrast to companies in America and the UK. What the economists found was that even when job tenure wasn't actually...
It's crazy that that's a thing. Is it just to save money? Like, I mean, there's got to be some reason for that and not just get rid of them. That's different. I have a job where I have nothing to do 1 month each year and it's only fun for 1 week. After, it's just alienating. Oh, I bet. Like, one good thing about my life I like is even though I'm busier as shit than every fucking day, every day is like super busy, I do feel like I'm doing something though. I feel like I'm doing something, and whatever I'm doing contributes and helps out with with my future. With my future and more or less like my end goal for things. Which, you know what? I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. So, at least in chat. Anyway, I'm sure you guys can vouch. When you're working for something, it feels so much better. And most of these jobs nowadays, because we're talking about the bare minimum of things, because a lot of people just want to do the bare minimum. So like, it makes you feel like no matter what you do, it doesn't fucking matter. No matter what you do, it doesn't fucking matter. And that's shitty because then it gives you no roles. It gives you no goals. It gives you nothing. So you're pretty much just like the NPC. You're an NPC just walking around, clocking in, clocking out. That's it. Like, one reason why I like to do like the whole self business, like family business stuff is that I know the harder that I work, the more I'm going to get out of it. Being your own boss, even though you don't get as much sleep, because you definitely don't get as much sleep. But when something is successful, it feels good because you damn well know that's going to help not only you, but everyone underneath you. So I like that. I think it's awesome. And I wish that I would see that more. I wish I would be able to see that more, but that's kind of just how most jobs are nowadays.
Being reduced by layoffs or firings, changes to corporate control, and especially company mergers or acquisitions raised uncertainty. Companies notice that by hyping up this uncertainty and making workers compete against each other to maintain their position.
By the way, see, I told you they would bring that shit up. Not pre-watch, just saying.
Theoretical downsizing, they could get people to work harder. Companies doing this would rank the performance of their teams and compare them to one
Savvy is
another,
a good boss.
highlight staff errors.
I know I may seem like a fucking dumb bitch when I'm fucking streaming, but on the outside, I think I'm decent. I'm decent.
Downplay strong performers so that managers and their teams always felt like their job was at risk. The Japanese firms, despite actually having shorter tenures for managers and operating with more business uncertainty thanks to a weaker overall economy, had a higher sense of job security, mainly thanks to a culture of protecting workers even at the expense of shareholders. In a wonderful twist of fate,
and it's crazy. It's crazy to that because you think about it like, hey, with the economy dropping, you don't want to have as many people. You would think that the companies would at least be like, hey, I got your back because there's so little of you guys. Because everyone needs to pull them together. But eventually just does the same cycle. Get more people, lay them all off, rinse and repeat. So I don't know. It's toxic if you really think about it. Companies do a lot of crazy things just to save a little bit. Just save just a little bit. But like I said before, it's not a long-term goal thing. If anything, I think they lose more money long-term. But it's always the short-term. Like where they're like, hey, look at that money that I can get right now. So, which is shitty because you know what? It's not even just companies with this. It's a lot of people want to get something right now. They don't want to wait for a year or like 2. But, I think the best things in life are, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to keep working for it. You can't just get it instantly. And if you do, let me know what that is. Because mom does need a little bit more money. Just saying. Thank you.
He also found that this is not really working on younger employees. Decades of well-publicized layoffs.
The new generation's changing. The new generation is changing.
And aren't afraid of losing their jobs as much as older managers who come from a time when people could spend their entire careers with one company.
And like I said earlier, good. Like, unless for some reason they're being absolute fucking shitheads, like really, like good. If a company doesn't care about you, even when you do your best, who cares? Just leave. Don't have the mentality that I grew up with where like if I lost my job, it was because you were a piece of shit. It's like the end of the world feeling because it makes you feel like dog shit. Makes you feel like, hey, maybe I can't do this again because I am the problem. A lot of the times it's them. A lot of times it is them. Unless for some reason, like, it's like, hey, I just couldn't keep up. Then that's something where you might want to learn. You might want to learn a little bit more and be able to either A, go into a field that you know you're going to love, or B, apply yourself more. Kind of like school. So, you know, it really depends. Secure my gremlin plushie. I'm glad you like it. Listen, we still got plushies still selling. Just saying. Got like 10 more days.
The rank and yank strategy only works to boost productivity for so long. A company should get rid of bad employees. But if it makes everybody feel on edge about their jobs forever, then even the best employees are just going to look for better opportunities elsewhere.
True.
Younger workers have also...
I think when, let's just say you didn't get laid off for, you know, like great example. Remember how, I think it was Blizzard let go of, was like 100 some fucking people? Like even our friend Myrith, like, got let go. Once that happens, let's just say you weren't part of the people that got let go. I would still be looking for something better, because if they all got let go, I will probably get let go eventually. So I'm just saying, like, it's something to keep in mind. Having a plan B is important. You can't, gone are the days, Chad, gone are the days where you can just have your one plan, boom, that's it. Especially when it comes to jobs, because you talk about like, hey, back in the day you were able to keep your job forever, which is awesome. Which honestly, I still remember my mom and my papa talking about stuff like that. But yes, always having a plan B and a plan C. Honestly, have a plan D too. Like, make sure that you're always set, because I like the saying, nobody cares about you more than yourself. No one's going to look out more for you than yourself. So you got to find ways to make sure that you're not on like the streets. Because trust me, it ain't nice out there. It ain't nice out there.
Changing jobs more frequently, especially early in their career, is the best way to move up the corporate ladder and secure pay increases. I will say it in every video I can, but if you want to increase your earnings in your career, multiple studies suggest that the best way to do this is to change jobs roughly every 2 years, and always be on the lookout for better opportunities. Companies do not value staff loyalty anymore.
Exactly. So that's why when they say like, oh, you need experience, well, get any experience that you can from a company, something that you're interested in, and just keep moving. Just keep moving. You have to nowadays. They don't care about you, so you need to get everything that you can for yourself. Make sure that you are on top of your game, so that whenever you are moving to somewhere else, you look valuable. You gotta look valuable. You gotta look like, it's like, man, I would feel so dumb as a company, as somebody trying to hire people. I like to say, make it look like where if they didn't pick you, that was like the worst mistake. So you want to be valuable, and knowledge, what you know, how you speak, that is it right there. That is fucking it.
Because they can't.
They don't care about you, and you don't care about them. Exactly. But at the same time, when you're in that situation, work your ass off. Be a good employee. Like, nobody wants a fucking shithead. And usually if you do get fired, a lot of the times it's like, hey, they'll write that down, like, this person does not work well. So don't let that bad stigma stick with you. But at the same time, work where you can, get all the information that you possibly can from a job or just life experiences. I like to say this too, like, take anything that you possibly can for work or life. Like, hey, I want to try this. Well, give it a go. If it fucking sucks, at least you know that A, you don't want to do this anymore, and B, maybe you got some info out of that. Like, maybe you're like, hey, I don't want this, but I started doing, let's just say you were trying to get a job at, like, I don't know, Target. And then you started talking with somebody, whether you guys were talking about a specific hobby. And you're like, you know what? I like that. I'm going to start striving for that. And that leads you on to another path, which then you're like, ooh, I don't want that, which then leads to another path, and then another path. And then it gets to the point where you're like, hey, this is what I really want. Because like I said, my life kind of led me all around to now I'm here. And I love what I do here. I would have never known unless I had all the things that happened to me in my life happen, which I'm very happy about that. But the big thing is, as long as you don't stop, the moment that you stop, that's when you stop learning. And if you stop learning, then what's the point? It is that journey that gets you to your destination. So you just have to enjoy it. And keep learning. And if you keep failing, because trust me, you will, just learn from it. Just learn from it and keep moving on. So that's all you can really do.
Businesses a lot
also,
of money
thank
to
you,
hire
Logan.
new employees, and then more money to pay them while they're getting good at their job. If they are hiring externally for a more senior position, they will also need to pay that.
By the way, sorry if I sound a little preachy. A lot of this stuff means a lot to me.
Makes no sense.
I'm telling you, I've been working in the business field for a while. and they do some shitty practices. So look out for yourself. Look out for yourself, because they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you, your mama, your daddy, your sister. They don't care. They don't care. So just do what makes it so that you can advance.
Then why do companies keep doing this? Well, it's easier. An internal promotion means someone else needs to be promoted.
And people go
down
to like the easy route. People go to the easy route every single time. Not the long term, the easy route, what is right in front of them. It is so narrow-minded. It's so narrow-minded. And you think to yourself, human beings are the most advanced creatures, at least from what we know, out there. And yet we always pick these easy routes. We don't think about it. We don't think about it. We just... And it doesn't make sense whatsoever. I think what it is that we have developed a sense of getting that gratitude right here, right now. They're like, I want this right now. So it's greedy. I feel like we have started to invest in being greedier. And that's fucking shitty. But it shows. It shows with businesses, people's lives. Like, being able to be patient with all this is huge. It's huge.
Else needs to be promoted to fill
theirs. So the path of least resistance and instant gratification. Exactly. You can't look at it. It looks nice now, but think about what's going to happen later.
Could do this, or they could just hire an external candidate that already knows the systems and then get back to scrolling Reddit in their office. Workers also don't believe in job stability.
This man said it 100%. They're like, hey, whatever makes it so I don't got to do nothing. So that's pretty much fucking nail on the fucking head.
Development are all the responsibility of the worker now, and if they are accepting that responsibility, they also want the freedom that comes with it. Some companies like consulting, legal, and accounting firms have built their entire workforce around limited time employees. Overworked, underpaid graduates will stick it out in entry-level roles because they know it looks good on the resume when they apply for a real job in 2 years.
And it's crazy because if you think about it, they spent 4 years, which if I remember correctly, sorry, I have the GI Bill, so I'm not 100% sure. But I think like for 4 years for your bachelor's degree, it's like $40,000 or some shit. Like, that is crazy. Not to mention when they're out, when they're doing like, you know, real work now, they're working these jobs that either pay little to nothing. And that is crazy. Yep, school is a scam. Honestly, I completely agree with you. Again, trade schools, that's stuff that I push up more. I like to say trade schools, or even just doing like some military. You know, like, so I used to have a lot of people that did HVAC stuff. Even like our family works HVAC shit now. So there's this license that usually you have to go to school for. I think it would cost like the school for like $5,000 or $10,000, but you get that shit for free. You get that shit for free. Hell, better yet, anyone that worked on the flight line, everyone that works on the flight line, I shit you not, they work 4 years, boom, they're done, and then they work at the airport. It's those certifications that they get, huge, which by the way, people have to like, okay, so people on the flight lines, I feel bad for you. You guys work your fucking ass off down there. But for military shit, so they're sticklers for everything. Now, granted, it does kind of make sense. There's jets and everything too. So, you know, those things can be very finicky. But like at the same time, that you guys have to deal with a whole bunch of shit. Then you work at the airport. So, you know, I don't know how bad it is there, but can't be as bad as fucking dealing with jets. Plus dealing with pilots. Fucking pilots are irritating. I guess not all of them, but let me tell you, I want to talk about some people that think they're privileged. Then again, you know, they do work good jobs, but I don't know. Also, Pink, thank you so much for the 21 months. Thank you.
Workers by bragging about how secure they are. Even companies that were considered American institutions have fallen apart too many times for people to think that their job is secure. And job security isn't a selling point worth taking a job for because people have learned not to care. So, congratulations, corporate America. You kind of played yourself. There's so much
more.
And
that's so unfortunate. Because if you think to yourself, hey, all this is doing is making it so that, again, the younger generation, everyone that is being taught underneath you, doesn't give a fuck. And you want people to give a fuck. It's like, let's just say, again, I have my dreams, my goals, what I want to do for our business, what I want to do here. And if I had people like underneath me, like great example, like I have editors that do really good things for like our videos, our shorts, like a whole bunch of stuff. What if they didn't give a fuck? What if nobody gave a fuck? I wouldn't be able to find anybody and everything's just gonna be trash. Everything's just gonna be trash. Or my family company. If I hired somebody that was fucking trash, Like, they're not helping my goal, our dreams, and that fucking sucks. Now, granted, like I was saying before, if a company's being shitty to you, just fucking leave. But like, they are training a lot of people to just not give a fuck, and that sucks. That really does suck.
I want to say on this topic, but it wouldn't make
You
for a
want
good
people to be
YouTube
motivated.
video.
You want
For
people to
things
be
like that,
motivated.
Make sure you're subscribed to my totally free email newsletter, Compounded Daily, if you want to get articles that can't be made into videos. The bonus fourth reason that job security is dead is this man right here. Go and watch my new video to find out how an unremarkable chemical
nice little
engineer
transition.
worked his way up to personally
I was like,
reshape
wait a
corporate
minute,
America
who are
into
you?
what it is today. Oh,
Interesting. Like I said, very good video. Very good video. I like this because like stuff like this hits home. Like for me, I'm not sure if anyone knows, but I used to do like recruiting, not for military, but for like the for the business I was telling you about prior. And I have to go over people's like resumes all the time. Not as much anymore, because with the family business we try to keep it small. But that was stuff that I used to look at a lot. And the shitty part is that because of that, my boss would tell me exactly what he wanted. He's either like, hey, you need to find people that either like are like super fucking cheap, or actually where I used to live like before, they said, hey, you can even get some of the illegal immigrants, which by the way, that is such a bad thing to tell the recruiter, because let's just say if we ever get audited and we find out that we have illegals there, that is terrible. You will get in trouble. Yes, exactly. And you want to know what happened there is that they'll sometimes let you know like, hey, we're going to go and audit you guys very soon. So guess who's doing layoffs? It's like the people that you wanted me to do. Now they're here. And then all of a sudden we're going to get in trouble. If that's going to be the case, then you have to let them go. And again, you're probably wondering why. Is because those people need work. Trust me, I have family that are just like that too. And it's cheaper. It's cheaper. So people will do a lot of shit, including a lot of illegal shit, just to make sure that their company's running and they're making about as much profit as they possibly can. Yeah, it do be like that though. Some people think it's all good. Everyone's doing it the right way. No, I don't know a lot of companies that are doing it the right way. Mom and pop shops, maybe. That's pretty much it. But yeah, like I said, really good video. I do like this one. I have never actually watched their videos before. But let me go ahead and add the link really fast. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I really like this one. Definitely. Like I said, this one hit home a little bit. Not to mention when we talk about like people just like doing the bare minimum, I'm sure it's not just me in here that has seen that pretty much most of their life. And if you're at least even like a decent worker, not only does it kill your immersion of saying like, hey, everyone's going to be working together and doing like our very fucking best, but it also makes the world feel a little bleak. Because if you really take it into perspective, if nobody gives a fuck, why do I care? Why should I give a fuck? So it really starts bringing down a damper on life. It's just kind of how it is. It really brings this like dark cloud over of like, who cares? And that's what I was telling you guys earlier. Being around people that are positive, motivated, like that's what you really want. It's really depressing when everyone doesn't give a fuck. When people are like, who fucking cares? Tends to add like a lot of the times it adds for more suicidal rates. It adds for a lot of depression, a lot of mental illnesses, because people are just always down. And that shit gets you after a while, most definitely. But yeah, like I said, really good video. I like this one, How Money Works. I will definitely be watching more of their videos. Actually, really nice video. I like it, definitely.